You know, it's no secret that I'm no fan of remakes.
And very evidently so.
The Thomas Crown Affair from 1968, starring the great Steve McQueen, was a masculine masterpiece that you could hardly improve on. I mean, just look at this shot. A manly man, cigarette in mouth, booze in front of him, and a woman who knows to keep her mouth shut while her man's reading the paper. And he drove the dude buggy himself. None of that green screen sound stage nonsense those snowflake actors opt for today. But every now and then Hollywood surprises you, since there was a remake in 1999 that made some interesting updates and helped it hold up as a good film in its own right. It's always a pleasure to see Pierce Brosnan on screen because he reminds me of my own Irish roots. On top of that, he's playing a Scotsman from Glasgow who grew up with nothing, pulled himself up by his bootstraps and became a billionaire.
You don't need to cry there, lassie. Not bad for the wee lad from Glasgow.
Gang, he's literally me.
Yes! More of that, please. More of that, my girl.
He's also a reminder of the white man's ingenuity, particularly the Irish. Brosnan gained solid footing in Hollywood after portraying James Bond, a character that should always remain Caucasian. Thank you very much, Sir Elba.
Can you ask yourselves why and really answer why you think I should play it?
That is a great question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think you've race-swat enough white characters, mate. The Thomas Crown Affair revolves around a billionaire who's accomplished pretty much everything there is to do. He completes high-profile business deals like gets a walk in the park. He snags a different woman for every day of the week. He owns a number of properties in New York and marches off to the Caribbean whenever he wants.
Where does he find time?
With nothing left to do, he grows bored and decides to steal a painting, just for the fun of it. He's then pursued by the police and an insurance agent who challenges him on a few surprising fronts. It would be an absolute crime to omit the fact that the film was directed by John McTiernan, the genius who of course gave us the greatest film not just in the history of cinema, but of mankind. Predator.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
And it was no coincidence. McTiernan gave Brosnan his first starring role in the film Nomads, so when Brosnan made it in Hollywood, he returned the favour, because a straight white male should stick together. Perhaps Mr. Brosnan could take a look at my Rogue Elements script. I'm sure when this film was released, a lot of people thought it was just going to be Pierce Brosnan playing James Bond again, but the role of Thomas Crown stands as a testament to the actor's range. Bond is refined, but Crown brings a level of class reserved for upper echelons. He's still a womanizer, but has a much less rushed approach than Bond because he doesn't have pressing missions to tend to. But just like Bond, he treats women exactly as the universe had intended. Wham bam and thank you ma'am. Thomas also has his racial priorities straight. When it comes to his corporate dealings, he's surrounded by employees with good genes. Except for this racially ambiguous looking guy here. His attorney also has good genes. Meanwhile, his assistant at home is of the Asian persuasion. Kind of like Melania's.
Yeah, they were all yellow.
Ah, Melania. Your full hair may bounce, but your checks sure don't. For his getaway, Thomas picks the island of Martinique. Now, you may be wondering why you wouldn't settle for a more Caucasian destination, but the answer is simple, dear viewer. There's no way Thomas is having white people wait on him hand and foot. Speaking of white people, there's plenty of them in this film. Ah, smells like old Hollywood. There's the heist crew Thomas hires as a distraction. They've all got good genes and they're from Europe, so they're not just white. They're white. McTiernan used his powers of sightseeing and learned Christopher Nolan would be adapting The Odyssey, so he made a few changes from the original affair, including a scene where the heist crew infiltrated the museum through a Trojan horse. You see, Nolan? That's how you do it. But boozer, you strapping Scottish scribe. One of the heist crewmen doesn't speak English. Surely you will level the same criticism towards him as the immigrants who only speak their native language. Well, dear viewer, to answer your question, he's white, so it'll be fine. But still, the lesson is that crime doesn't pay. One of the crew is released and becomes a crime boss in Gotham. But that didn't end too well for him.
Why don't we cut you up into little pieces and feed you to your pooches?
There's Detective Michael McCann, Eminem if you will. He's going through a divorce and tries to get into Catherine Banning's pants, but even a straight white man like him has to fall when his competition is a total Jew. Not that that will matter, cause women always choose the rich guy in the end. She does end up giving McCann a kiss, but he started his manosphere journey and tells her to make herself scarce.
Get out of here. Go on.
Yes! More of that, please. More of that, my girl.
Speaking of Catherine, I have to say I love how the film handles her. She's initially presented as a strong female character with a pretty hefty track record and immediately threatens to send McCann down the simp rabbit hole. But as soon as she's confronted with Crown, a total Jew, he reminds her of a woman's place. She's smitten with him to the point that she becomes completely unprofessional, jeopardizes the investigation on several separate occasions, and breaks down crying a few times over him. A reminder that the also indestructible girl boss
That's her.
is nothing but a myth, one quickly dispelled by some good old-fashioned masculinity. There's some diversity in the cast, but it serves to prove a point. Like Officer Peretti, with a name like that, the role was obviously meant to go to a superior Caucasian actor.
I was wanting it to be an individual of a superior race.
But after McTiernan read the script, he noticed something that's obvious when you watch the movie. Out of the detective duo, it's mostly McCann doing all the heavy lifting, and Peretti is just there. Seriously, you could remove him entirely and it would still be the same film. So, since it was a useless role that required someone with no discernible talents, it was a great opportunity to put DEI on full display. Speaking of DEI, how about that museum guide? She has to read all the information out of a pamphlet instead of knowing it by heart, because that's what happens when you shove unqualified folk into important positions. Most of the kids she's reading to are of a certain demographic and are bored out of their skulls because the story doesn't involve drive-by shootings or a pair of new Jordans. Then she code switches, starts talking about money, and they're immediately interested.
Okay, try this. It's worth $100 million.
There's also the black security guy who, when asked to literally do his job, provides this response.
Can't we just pass it on to engineering?
And has to be reminded of the rules by the straight white male colleague.
The book says we check it first. Alright.
Meanwhile, Bobby, a man who's pushing 65, goes toe-to-toe with Crown about the deep history and interpretations of patents, and even tackles some of the far younger heist crew. And let us not forget Agent, I don't know, let's call him Jamal, who Catherine approaches because she needs someone to break into a house. Who better for that job than one of
The blacks.
Faye Dunaway shows up for a cameo because she's an old woman in Hollywood and no longer f***able.
In every actress's life, the media decides when you finally reach the point where you're not believably anymore.
Which means the checks are running dry.
I'm here for the money, okay?
She plays a highly unprofessional therapist who laughs at her client's quandary.
Weird.
Also, the most unbelievable thing in this film is that a total Jew like Crown would even consider therapy. Over the course of the film, Thomas and Catherine play a cat and mouse game, with Thomas always having the upper hand because, unlike the hysterical woman, he's able to keep his emotions in check.
Let's play ball.
Here we go again.
He gives her an ultimatum, a final opportunity to choose between him and her duties. She ends up betraying him, of course, probably because she figured out with him in prison she can auction off his art collection and make a nice mint off of that. But as usual, Thomas is prepared for the female deception and plays her yet again, along with the entire police force.
Oh yes.
He then reveals that the painting he obtained was returned to the museum and has been there the whole time. What, you didn't think he was actually going to steal it, did you? He's not black. Last call before I close up for the night. The Thomas Crown affair is a testament to what can happen when you let pure straight white masculinity run its course and get the job done. It's a sleek, stylish and suspenseful film with plenty of gems to offer. The story also works in pretty much any area, since technology is always evolving and provides new challenges for our hero. I was excited to hear that Hollywood is actually remaking this film, since it's a great opportunity to harken back to Hollywood of old and show the world that you can still make movies today without injecting woke politics. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. They had to, didn't they? Alright, this is seriously pissing me off. You know what? Now I gotta go watch Predator to make me feel better again. Ah, Predator. Your poster should be in a museum. Alright, story's over. Get out.